Hello, faithful listeners. My name's Clay Thompson, and I'll be your guide once again in the fiction room. Today's prompt is brought to us from username Red-Velvet. You are the world's greatest detective. With your near superhuman intellect, you've never failed to solve a case before. But one day, you finally meet your match, a criminal so unbelievably stupid that you cannot possibly comprehend and predict what he's going to do next. As always, I hope you enjoy hearing these stories as much as I enjoy reading them, but without further ado, let's begin with our first story, written by Slacking Swag.
It was maddening, infuriating. How could you possibly see that coming? Weeks of setting an elaborate trap, involving plotting every escape route down to the weak bricks in the wall, men hidden in every crack, crevice, and cavity you could find. It was the perfect setup. Have him come in for the Great Diamond, exactly 3:16 sharp, wait for him to take it, have wherever he came from blocked off, and have men surround him from every angle. It was the stuff detective movie dreams were made of. What children playing cops and robbers with their Legos imagine they're going to foil with their scheming intellect. But no! This buffoon walks straight through the front door at midnight, slaps the glass cover away like my precious little kitten does when her favorite toy is dangled above her, grabs the diamond with his disgusting sausage fingers, and just leaves. All in the span of 5 minutes. There are no words to describe how utterly livid I am in this moment. But it's fine. Oh, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's not fine. It's not fine. It's not fine at all. I cannot predict this fool. He has no motivations, no reason, no rhyme. I prefer tracking a deranged serial killer obsessed with the number 4 that leaves utterly gruesome crime scenes behind, for God's sake. Last week, this half-wit was robbing a McDonald's. The week before, he was stealing glue sticks from a primary school. And now, he's only gone and robbed a diamond worth 1,000 times more than the McDonald's he stole from. I slammed my diary into the desk, pen whirling into some distant corner. I'd get it later. Standing up quickly and turning on my heel, I grit my teeth and stormed out the door, turning too fast to greet the dull grey sky out the adjacent window with my utterly sour expression as I strode down the corridor, barely paying attention to the dull, generic surroundings. Staring down the mugshot of the ugly toupeed mug, hatred threatening to boil over more and more every millisecond longer that I spent staring at his inattentive face. I snarled through my clenched teeth, crumpling the photo in my hand. I have single-handedly found out more serial killers than I could count, global thieves that had stolen millions in goods, terrorists living in a hole in a field, for God's sake. This uneducated muppet will not evade me again.
This legitimately sounds like The Great Muppet Caper if it was written by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, so my God, I love this. Very nice job. And now let's move on to our second story, written by Nick of Night. Her eyes were like 2 mouldy apples, dull green and rotten to the core. Her hair sat on her head in a trembling auburn bun, as if anxiously waiting for a bus to take it far away from this mess. Looking back, if it had had a spare ticket, I might have taken it. What do you do with a dough, Miss Berkeley? It took her a long time to answer, her face so taut in concentration, I leaned back in case it snapped. Crumpets, she taunted eventually, in her crisp English accent, as cold as the country she came from. I leaned in, snarling. Okay, fine. Play games. She looked around the empty room, then shrugged. I spy with my little... I get it. You're smart. But you're not that smart. We found your fingerprints on the knife that was used to kill the cashier. I lowered my voice, conspiratorially. Just tell me this. How did you know the cameras were off? You had someone on the inside? On the inside? Oh, I'm not pregnant if that's what you're implying. Me eyebrows crawled up me forehead, exploring the fringes of the greying jungle above. The dame was smart. Didn't fall for the fingerprints ruse, and frankly, it didn't seem like she was going to incriminate herself one way or another. How about I lay my cards on the table? All my cards. Her face brightened.
That would certainly broaden the possibilities.
I grinned. Yeah, it would. Okay then, here we go. You were seen by multiple witnesses walking into the bank moments before it was robbed. You had a large bag in your hands. When you came out, you no longer had such a bag. Instead, a man wearing a balaclava had it, who followed you out less than a minute later. An accomplice. Now that's not enough by itself to put you away, but coupled with the train robbery and the jewellery heist, where we've got you pinned to either scene by half a dozen witnesses, well, now our case is about as tight as a well-sealed can of beans. So, if you want to make a plea deal, this is the time to get talking. Understand? She swallowed. Her nerves were showing.
Does this mean we're not going to be playing cards, detective?
It took me a moment to realize she was messing me around. She had no intention of giving me any useful information. Unlike me, she was keeping her cards close to her chest. I shot her a look. Her dress was loose, showcasing the kind of thing that would make a hedonist blush. Truth was, if I had been a packet of cards, that's where I would have hidden it too. I don't play games, I said.
Bad loser?
Bad winner. I ran a hand down my face and silenced a sigh. I was going to have to let her go, and I still had no idea where she'd strike next. Her crimes were almost random. No connection between them at all. No modus operandi. She was playing chess. I was playing pin the tail on a donkey, blindfolded.
I like you, detective,
she said out of the blue. Good to know, I replied, not allowing her taunting to get to me. She pulled a pin out of her bun. Her hair bled over her face, as if it had been hit by the bus instead of boarding it.
You know, they always called me dumb at school. Never said I'd make anything of my life. But you believe in me.
I snorted. They were only half right, I'd say.
Yes, I suppose they were.
There was a knock on the door. Looks like our time is up, I said. She glanced about the room.
I don't even see a clock.
I laughed. I had to give it to her. She knew how to stay in character. I'd seen worse actors on Broadway. Truth be told, I was beginning to have my own doubts about her, just like the rest of the department. Doubts that were creeping into my mind as quietly as mice in slippers, but there, nonetheless, padding away step by step. Maybe they were right. Maybe I just kept bringing her back in because she was easy on the eyes. The kind of mugshot you base a case around just to see it every day up there on the wall. Or maybe it was because paperwork doesn't make good company at night, even if it means you get most of the bed to yourself. You're free to leave, I said, rising from my chair. She walked to the door, then turned.
I'll see you again soon, Inspector.
She smiled, her lips curling in a she-devil grin. That smile was like a cat chasing the mice back into their holes. She was guilty as sin, and I'd be taking her to church for bread and penance.
As I've got to make a report on my missing bag, she continued, it was stolen whilst I was in the bank. I only put it down for a second, but people today.
She shook her head mournfully.
Can't trust anyone.
I let out a long breath. Good day, Miss Berkeley.
Good day, Inspector.
Oh my god, I love this. I love the interaction between these characters, Miss Berkeley and the Inspector. I mean, way to have characters with chemistry. Not romantically, of course, but they just play so well against each other. I would love a sequel to this. This is just peak at this point. This is just so good. And now, faithful listeners, we must unfortunately bid you farewell once again. Thank you all so much for tuning into the Fiction Room. If you enjoyed today's stories, please consider liking, sharing, and subscribing. It would very much help us. And wherever you are in the world right now, be safe, be well, and we'll see all of you next time.